iCloud. Well, welcome everyone. We may have a few more people popping on here, but this is a great group. And I'm really excited about this topic of really building your advisory board, building your support team, your support network, because I am an entrepreneur. I've been working by myself for about 15 years. And really that's one of the inspirations behind starting the Women's Wellness Exchange, is to build a support network for female entrepreneurs, and to build something that I wish I would have had when I started my business, nearly 15 years ago. And I just, I feel like, I know us as women, as wellnesspreneurs, we don't like to ask for help. We get overwhelmed by technology. We don't want to bother people. And I don't think we're always that great at asking for help, whether it's, and there's many, you can get bookkeepers and website developers. I really wanted to do this as more of like a support for you in your business, to help you think about your business and grow your business. And something that I find too, that I've noticed for myself, is that when I get mired in the details of, finding clients and doing all this stuff, I start to contract. I start to think small. And I think having people that you can reach out to for feedback, an advisory team, an accountability partner, it makes you open things up a little bit, because I think we just get mired in the details and frustrated with technology. And I know for me, last year, I didn't do this for years. This is the first year where I got a business coach, accountability partners, advisory team. And it just makes my job, my work, my passion, my purpose, all that so much more opening and just expansive. And that's I love what Christine Kane says. We're all in this. This is our opportunity for our soul's expansion, because we are following our passion and our purpose, but we also want to make an income too. So I just think it's really important that we are open to these things, that we're not afraid of asking for help, that we're not afraid to put our business plan out there, even if it's one page, to put our hopes and dreams out there, to put, what we want out of our business. It's so good to voice it, because again, we write it on the, I've done this, write it on the back of an envelope, to just get clarity. And I know for me, when I've had an advisory committee, I had like a 2 or 3 page document. I had all my ideas organized. I had everything I wanted to do, my mission, my vision, all that kind of stuff. It was all laid out, versus me just throwing things out into the wind and hoping that they work, right? It makes you accountable. It gives you some boundaries and structure. And it gives you some feedback from the outside in, which I think is important. We want to drive our business from the inside out. That's one of the things that I think I'd really like to instill through the Women's Wellness Exchange. We don't have to do it like everyone else. And I think that's another part of our thinking small. Oh, I got to do it like this. Oh, I must have to have a constant. Oh, I must post on Facebook today. But, I'd like us to think about leading inspired businesses, where we feel creative, where we feel like we can try new things, where we're not afraid to fail. And sometimes just throwing those by people, throwing our ideas by people, a lot of times we can get feedback from our clients, but I think that's different. You want to look at it from a business angle, and giving you some confidence and courage to maybe step forth with something that you might not have done otherwise. So I just think this is a good time to do this as we plan for the next year. And I'm going to really encourage people to think about how they can create whatever works for you. And I think there's different ways that we can do this. So we're going to lay all those out. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to print out the worksheet that I put together. So we're going to actually, do some brainstorming tonight. If you didn't get a chance to download it, that's okay. But it has a little list in the back. And I want us to just put pen to paper and start committing to some of these things, because I really believe that it's going to make a big difference. So let's go ahead, and I would love to have everyone just introduce themselves and just a little bit about what they do. We're going to be having lots of discussion tonight, so you can just kind of keep it simple, but this is a great time to network and for you guys to get to know each other. Maybe some of you might want to be on each other's advisory teams or be accountability partners, so we can kind of brainstorm that at the end. But let's go ahead and start with, I hope I say this right, Alethea?
Yeah, you got it.
Yay!
I know. So yeah, I'm Alethea. I live in Bow, New Hampshire, and I am a yoga teacher. I do EM yoga, focused yoga, so energy medicine focused yoga. I also do energy healing, card readings, and I'm an author. So far I'm an indie author, but I'd like to turn into traditional published author. So that's one of my focuses for the new year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And remind me, I have a link for you for a publisher
Oh, you
that does
do?
women's books, and
Okay.
her deadline's in January. I was going to post it on the Facebook group. So I
Okay.
would love to give you that info.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. All right, Dana, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dana Leopold. I'm on the West Coast. I'm just outside of San Francisco. And during COVID, I decided to switch my career. So I went into yoga training, and now I teach yoga for healthy aging. So I teach women 55 and older how to age well. And then I also am a wellness coach. So I help women 45 and older with programs that help them lose weight, gain energy, and experience more calm.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana.
Mm-hmm.
Vicki?
Hi, guys. So I am a nurse practitioner. I did family practice medicine for about 20 years, and now I do sort of a hybrid of traditional and functional medicine. I'm doing that through a nutrition practice, but I'm currently sort of transferring over into my own entity where I work collaboratively with with some dietitians, but I'd also love to have a network of other healers in there to offer, services to clients. So that's where I am.
Awesome. Thanks, Vicki.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea, you're very spooky in the dark there. But I see you smiling.
Sorry, I don't mean to be spooky or dark.
Okay.
It's really not that dark here, but it's comfortable for me to not have too many lights on later. This is late at night for me. So.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a holistic nurse practitioner and life coach for women. And I recently wrote a book called Lovable for Women. And so I am looking to expand my business and get help with that, with marketing the book and my coaching services, and move more toward that rather than my regular counseling practice. So that's my goal over the next couple of years. My retirement job is going to be speaking and writing, and less and coaching, and less of the traditional nurse practitioner role.
Yeah. And I got a preview of her book, and it's amazing. So cannot wait to help you launch that. So beautiful.
Thank you.
And actually, Alethea, make sure you talk to Mary, because she published this book. She'll tell you more. All right. Awesome. Donna.
So I'm Donna, and I live in Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. I am kind of in my retirement job, but I've been doing it kind of along the side of my other non-retirement job for a long time. So I am an herbalist, I'm a Reiki master, and I am a flower essence practitioner. And I just want to grow that at this point. I am also writing a book. It's about navigating the process for aging parents. I'm also developing oracle cards that are kind of, earth-based, flower essence-y based, that kind of thing. I belong to a writer's group with Hay House Publishing at this point to help along with that, to keep me on task and keeping it moving forward. And I do, with the essencing, I do, a lot of consultations, mentoring, and teaching.
Awesome. Thanks, Donna. Mary. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Mary, and I am CEO and founder of Divine Destiny Publishing, and Soul Mastery Coach, and several modalities: breathwork, yoga, meditation, Reiki. I am really anchoring into my Sedona retreats this coming year. So I host a Journey of the Heart retreats right here in Sedona, Arizona. Just leading others closer to their magic really is what wants to come out for that. And I use all of me. I wear a lot of hats, and I love everything that I do. And I've written a lot of books. I'm a #1 international bestseller ×6. I just have been sharing my soul, and it has brought me just really more magic and freedom than I can ever I'm just so grateful. So that is me. And I love to collaborate, to connect with each and every one of you, because I know that we all get to be around each other on purpose. There's always something that we can create together. So thanks so much for allowing me to share, Tracy.
Thank you. And Hillary, welcome. Good to see you. Oh, can we hear you now?
Hi guys. I was
There we go.
taking notes. That's why I wasn't looking at my screen. I'm here in Dover, New Hampshire. I'm a energy medicine practitioner. I work every day at a general practice. I am not a nurse. I only do the energy healing. And so I'm in a general medicine practice, and that's the premise of my book that came out this year called The Power of Energy Medicine, with Skyhorse, Simon and Schuster. And yeah, I'm with you guys. Like, how do you market it? They say you get a big publisher. It's still just, yeah. The Shift Network is looking at me to teach a class, so that could be cool. And I am just really, I actually really love my life. I'm pretty busy. I'm a foster adoptive mom. I got 2 teenagers. I have a very, very busy caseload right now. I'm on a book tour, sort of in a COVID-y kind of weird way. And I actually really love my life. I just want to, I did this manifestation class with Lauren Walker a year ago, and you're supposed to choose your sankalpa, like what is your desire? What is your desire? And I took like a couple weeks to figure it out. And I was like, my sankalpa is more. I just want more of this beautiful path, that sounds like we're all on. And Donna, I feel like you and I were in a healing group together. Do you recognize? I recognize you from, so it's just nice to network.
Yeah, no, I don't, but it could just be that, there are too many people or something. I don't know.
No,
But
it's me. I study the masters. I know the masters in the area, So
okay.
nice to see you. Yeah.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, thanks, Tracy. I just want more of all this goodness that's happening in the world right now with the healing arts.
Thanks, Hillary. And, again, I really love hearing from all of you guys about the lives that you're creating and kind of following your vision and your dream. Again, this whole thing of sharing, putting out there, lifting each other up. Believe me, I know I've worked by myself in my yoga pants so many times, just like updating my website and just getting stuck behind the scenes. And what I want for all of us is to share our dreams, be creative, know that we don't have to do this the way that other people have done it. And to really, I heard this beautiful quote the other day, I can't remember where it's from, about, that everyone's waiting, the world, everyone's waiting for this light to shine on them, but really we radiate from within. And that's my goal, because I think as wellnesspreneurs too, we're always, oh God, it's like social media and all these things. There's just so many things. We're just putting so much information out there, but it's really important for us to also do that work, do the work. Like, what do we really want out of this? How do we want to, charge and honor our value and all those things. And I just think that, we can support each other, and that being an entrepreneur can be really lonely sometimes. And so I hope through these groups and these discussions, and hopefully you guys will have your own support team and support network, that we can do this. And so a couple things. One is that I would love to ask people, how many right now actually have, let's say, an advisory group or some group of people that help them in, in their business, maybe formally or informally. Anybody? Okay, Vicky, Dana, Hillary. Okay, great. Anyone have like a business coach or a little bit? Okay, you do. Awesome. And how about kind of other associations that people belong to? Anyone working with any other associations or? Okay. Okay, awesome. Just wanted to give a little heads up on, get a sense of kind of where people are with that. So as I talked about earlier, when we talk about our advisory board, our support team, it can come in many ways, shapes, or forms. And, again, we can hire the bookkeeper, we can hire the web person. Again, I want this to kind of be focused on us finding help to help us build, expand, see our business, have perspective on our business. So, we can get the web person to help us and the bookkeeper and so forth, but to really set up, I love to just keep this word up leveling, where we're continually progressing in our business. Every quarter we kind of check in with someone or a team or a coach or whoever, and that we're moving forward. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do, because believe me, I mean, when I first started, it was just like, let's just throw stuff out there and see what sticks. And so I taught cooking classes to mom. I mean, my business has completely changed based on my lifestyle. When I had a 2-year-old, I did stuff for moms. Now I'm, almost 60, and I do stuff for women 55 plus. I do retreats and I do coaching, and that's kind of my area of what I want to focus on. So things can evolve and change. And I was talking with someone earlier today who also said that her biggest idea came when she was like in the shower, and it's working really, really well, but she doesn't know what's next. She doesn't know how long that's going to be. And so we are continually evolving and growing. And I wanted to run through some of the things that were in the handout. So for anybody that saw that, and we're just going to run through those. I would love to hear also at the end, any challenges that you guys have. Maybe each person could maybe pop up and say, this is kind of what I need. And maybe we could give some input or advice on what, some suggestions for how to carve that support out for their business. So I wanted this to be interactive. We might even break up into groups at the end, as everyone I want you to leave here with some ideas, to leave here with a list of people that you might reach out to leave here with some, creative ways for you to kind of take some next steps. Here we are at the end of the year, right? So, how many people are really clear about what their business plans are for next year? You have a little bit? Yeah. Yeah, I've got a really draft document, right? So it just takes, but I know I've got an advisory committee meeting, and I know it's got to be ready for that. That's the other thing, we don't have a boss to report to, or, we can just keep moving our deadlines. And I also think that we convince ourselves we might have a great idea, but we don't put pen to paper, we don't share it with anyone, and then it just fades off into the distance, right? So I think, again, having that accountability and somebody that's like checking in on your business, that you're kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of reporting to, based on your terms, that, it gives us some deadlines, it gives us some accountability. So I'm going to, and then Hillary and I were talking, gosh, a few weeks ago. We had one of those great talks. I think Hillary's definitely, you're not my accountability, but every few months we seem to check in, and I always just feel so inspired after talking to her, and those people that you have those conversations with. I have a few people, and it's just, I always leave, and I always wish I would have tape recorded the conversation, because I had so many good ideas and so much good came out of it. But even just those conversations are great. And Hillary was talking about really kind of building up her kind of core community, and because she's launching a book, she really wants to go national. But, where do you come back to, right? Who are the people that you come back to, whether it's the Women's Wellness Exchange or, some other local groups. That's really important too, so that you have people that you can reach out to say, hey, I'm really struggling in my business, or hey, could we brainstorm, or hey, could we have lunch because I know you get me because we're both wellnesspreneurs. And I think that's a really important thing. I have very few people in my life that are entrepreneurs or even wellnesspreneurs, so not a lot of people get what I do and how I do it and why I do it. And they kind of wonder like, what the hell I'm sitting in my, doing at my desk all day long. So really important for me and all of us, I think, to talk to other people. And, we do some networking things, and I'd really like to start out local chapters so people can really start bonding a little bit more. So Hillary, I'm going to have you jump in a little bit. I'm going to walk through some of this stuff, and then I'd love for you to talk about kind of how you're building up that core community. But I wanted to just run through a few things here. I'm just going to pull up my keynote here. So I'm going to share my screen. This will be the most formal part of the conversation here. So I went through and I just started thinking about all the different ways that we could be supported in our business, and for sure associations. And I listed a few of those, but there are a lot of women's groups. I don't see a lot of women's groups or women's associations, definitely some for entrepreneurs, but for wellnesspreneurs specifically, there really aren't a lot. And that's one of the reasons, again, why I started the Women's Wellness Exchange. But, in the list, I think I talked about the Center for Women in Enterprise, SCORE, that's not just for women, is another good one. I've kind of been hit or miss with them. I have reached out to them in the past, and it's kind of finding that right person, which I think is important. But there's a lot of like empowering women associations. And I think it's also, when you're looking at associations, it also knowing like, what exactly do you want out of that, right? What do you want out? Do you want skills? Do you want support? Do you want someone to help you with a strategy? So it's really kind of good to know what you're looking for so you can let them know. I know with the SCORE, they actually reach out and do like a introductory call, and that then you can tell them what you're looking for and they can find that right person, and it's all free. So that's a really great thing. A coach or a mentor. There are plenty of business coaches out there, lots of them, and you can spend a lot of money. You can spend a very little bit of money. I think the key is finding the right person for you. And sometimes that's hard to do when you're doing it online and you don't get to know the person before, although so many coaches offer really like good free stuff. So they create a lot of content that you can kind of check out and get a sense about knowing them. I think one of the most important things with coaches is that your kind of level of investment sometimes matches your investment in the program. So always good to really, think about how much time you can put into it, how much time you want from the person, whether it's all online or it's just literally someone that you can talk to, and have a conversation with. I actually hired a writing coach to help me with my book, because I knew that, after months and months and months going by, I was making progress, but she helped me stay focused. I was able to run things by her. I had deadlines. I knew that I didn't want to show up for a call that I was paying for and not have, some work done. So that really helped me a lot. And maybe some of you could talk about that, because I know we've got some writers here too. And we actually have a really great woman. She's a life coach as well, and she's a member. So I could refer you to her. The other thing is mentors. And I'm going to open this up afterwards to talk a little bit about mentors as well, because mentors can be free. So I'm going to run through these a little more quickly, and then we'll break them down. Advisory boards, teams, or advisory committees. Oh my gosh, so helpful. Really has changed my the way I do business. I love having advisory boards. I feel so supported. I had last year and this year as well, I've had some small groups, but last year when I was doing a really big online women's event, it was just so helpful to me and so inspiring to have people show up for me. It really made me feel good. Facebook or affinity groups. There's plenty of them out there. And again, we'll talk more about that. Accountability partners. love my accountability partner. It's evolved and grown for me. Sometimes it has worked, sometimes not. And then masterminds. Masterminds are really an opportunity for people to come together and problem solve, right? To really put stuff out on the table and, help people work through stuff. It's a working group, so you want to find the right people that you feel aligned with, what you're doing and the direction that you want to head it. So I kind of ran through those quickly, and I wanted to just come back and talk a little bit about that. Let's just kind of break each one down. And I would love to hear from you guys, some of the things that you're doing, if you have ideas, and then I'll break it down a little bit more as well. But associations, how many, I think I asked that earlier, but is anyone involved? You've been with SCORE? Vicki, I saw you. Alethea, okay, awesome. And how was that for you guys?
So I'm currently working with SCORE because I'm trying to make this transition into really having like my own practice. And I was placed with somebody who's been really helpful. He's very traditional and straightforward, but he definitely is somebody who is guiding me in terms of a business plan, but he's also the person who's like, listen, I don't know how to build a website, but this guy does, and I'm going to set you up with him. And I don't know the legal terms you need to use in a contract, but this guy does. So if you find the right person at SCORE that they match you up with, what's helpful is exactly what you said, Tracy, is that he meets with me. And then we have sort of homework by the next time, which for me, like I'm going to do everything at the last possible second when I have to, but it forces me to do it. So where I felt kind of stagnant for 2 years, kind of stuck in that, like most people did kind of in the pandemic stuff, I feel like I have a direction forward.
Nice. That's awesome. It's when they can help you create the path, or they walk on the path with you. It's really nice. Alethea, how about you?
I've given up because I've tried 2 different times, and the first time was a few years ago, and the woman I was placed with never connected with me. Like I reached out a couple times and she never followed through. And then the second one was he sells like he's retired, but he used to sell John Deere tractors, and he just didn't get what I was doing at all. So I just gave up.
Yeah, it's a mixed thing for sure.
Yeah.
What I do know is that, there are SCOREs in every, all over the country. At one point I was searching, and I don't know how I came up with someone who was like an expert in digital technology and, or digital media. And she was in Connecticut. So you can reach out to other areas, and I think they're really good now about listing the expertise of people.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that you might do, is keep searching, because,
Yeah.
I think you're right. What I have found too, I think I went years and years ago. It was a group of like 4 older men, no offense. They were probably my age now, but yeah. So, okay. Well, that's good experience. That's good to hear. Okay. All right. So that was kind of through associations. And then I would just say coaches. We were talking about associations, and that was SCORE, which I coached. Anyone else have any experience with coaches that have been really helpful to them, like hiring a coach just for you? Andrea, didn't you have someone that you hired, business coach? Can't hear you. There we go.
Okay, I'm here. Sort of, yeah, my experience was signing up for a program where I had 2 coaches within the big program to help me get to launch an online program. And this, they helped me develop the whole thing and get it online, and how to get, all your emails out, like the whole thing from start to finish. So I was with them for like 6 months. And it seems great, and I'm sure it worked for a lot of people, but it didn't work for me because I think, looking back, realizing I started to get really disillusioned toward the end with all the work I had done. And then it was very traditional Facebook marketing. There's a sales script, there's a initial video that's an intro, and then you get them to buy the program. And I developed a very large, like 3-month program for women with anxiety with tons of great stuff in it. So I got that out of it. That program got developed, but it never really got sold to one person. And I spent over $10,000 between the coach and the Facebook marketing. And it's fine. I learned a whole lot, but I realized a lot of that way of marketing with the main goal of making money was not my style.
I would love you to elaborate that, where you say that goal of making money. Because I think that's kind of a common thread. So I'd love just to hear a little bit more about that, because it just felt too outcome focused, or
it felt that the big sell, like, come join our program because you're going to make $10,000 a month or something, you know. And I didn't see it for that in the beginning, but as it went on, I could, that really they were looking for people who wanted to make money and not really serve clients. And yes, you know, they counted on us, on the people, you know, all those of us who were all in the program who had some expertise, that we would bring that piece of it. And of course we did, but I knew how to bring that piece. I needed someone to help me market it in a way that felt really natural to me. So I really learned that was not, just didn't fit me. I just felt uncomfortable. There was sales scripts, you know, if they say this, then you say that. And if they have a, you know, they have a no, then this is how you counteract the no. And I would, at that time in my life, it was over 2 years ago now. And I was thinking, I don't know anything about this. I'm just going to follow their plan. And I kept following the plan and following the plan, and it never got better. It only got worse. And I felt it was my learning, you know, it was my learning to really start to understand that this is not the way I work with people, and it has never felt comfortable and never will. And so that's what I mean by all that.
I love that. I think it's so important for people to hear that, because, oh my gosh, who's inundated with like stuff?
Everybody
like
wants to help you. Every single person knows how to make you whatever, $10,000 a month. And I don't answer any of that anymore. I don't get pulled into any of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think our work, what I'm really seeing, you know, as I've learned for myself and as I kind of work with more women here, I think that our work is to go inward and figure out how we really do serve, because there's so much out, a sea of information out there, and it all starts to sound the same. Our goal is to, you know, our work, inner work, is to figure out what it is we offer, how we want to communicate, how we help others, what is our hero's journey, and how are we going to help other women guide them on theirs. And you can't do that with a formula or a script, you know. And I like to think too in our business that there's like a soul track, and there's a, you know, or skill set, and there's a mindset. You need both, right? But formulas.
It also takes time. When, you know, I haven't gotten my first real client yet, because I'm just building, right? I've got the mortars and the things, I'm just building. But what I've found too, Andrea, because I've had, you know, all these things come at me, get this program, get that, you're going to get, you know, 1,000 clients. It's a balance of doing little things every day and building relationships. And relationships don't, like you were saying, Tracy, they don't come from scripts. It takes time. You have to really build relationships with your potential clients, because they need to know who you are and feel safe with you. And that's kind of where you come back to that, Tracy, is as a wellnesspreneur, who am I, and what is it, the core of what I'm offering, and how do I make that come across authentically so somebody feels comfortable enough to book a discovery call with me, or right? It takes time. And sometimes I get very impatient. So that comes back to my work, right? On myself.
Yeah. It's a process for sure, you know, and I think the longer we're in business, hopefully the clearer that we get, but you know, sometimes a writing coach or business coach can also help you reflect back what they hear you say. Sometimes we're not, you know, we think we've got it all figured out in our head, but they can help us, you know, reflect back what we are thinking and, you know, what we need, which I think is important too. So, but that's where the difference between a personal coach and an online program, and sometimes they're a combination of both and stuff, but and it seems these days, you know, it's so much, there's so many online programs, and I think those are fine too. You know, my business coach has a lot of stuff online in addition to that, and it's very helpful. You can do it on your own time, but and again, that's why I'm coming back to like finding mentors and people that can actually, you know, reflect some of those things back. So my next question would be, does anyone have a mentor that's either in their line of business, like very similar, or in another business completely that is just a mentor? Awesome. Vicki.
She's right below me on the screen. It's Andrea.
Andrea.
So I'm lucky that I have a friend who is also, you know, we are kind of little bit unicorns in being nurse practitioners in this kind of alternative models that we are. But she's also the person that, like, I've been stuck for, you know, 2 years in this certain place. And I'm like, Andrea, I need to go for a walk on Sunday. We go for a walk. And Andrea goes, okay, where are you stuck? And I tell her, and she goes, all right, that's not going to work. Nope, move forward. Like, no, it's not valid. I'm like, okay, you're absolutely right, Andrea. So sometimes it just takes like an Andrea in your life to, you know, get you forward. So you can have business coaches and people that, you know, programs like Andrea went to. It's really finding the person who resonates with you that can make all the difference in the world.
It can call you out, right? Sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's no she'll call it out. Yeah. Yeah, which I love.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and you
Andrea.
know, the thing that I'm seeing too, for myself and for others, is that it's the obstacles aren't about our website. They're not about, you know, maybe they're about, you know, our resistance to technology or whatever. The obstacles are up here, you know, they are. And like, I love what you said too, Dana, if we've got to just keep moving forward, progress, you know, and the worst feeling, I know, I'm sure we would all agree, is to just feel stuck, you know, and we get there. There's definitely a roller coaster, you know, but that's why it's good to have, like you said, someone to do that. So Dana, did you want to add in? Do you have a mentor?
Yeah, it's actually one of my yoga teachers. He has been doing yoga for 35 years, but he's also a consultant in the business world. So you look at this guy and he just looks like a business guy, but then he can do, you know, like crazy headstand with splits. And I'm just like, oh my, and he's like 67. So he's like Victoria, he's like Andrea. He will definitely call me. He will say, what are you spending time doing that for? And go back to your yoga, right? When I'm spinning wheels and, you know, stuck in go back to your yoga. And it's like, oh yeah. So it's wonderful to have him and just his level of experience, even though he's not like in wellness coaching. You know, he knows where I'm going. He knows who I am because I've, you know, learned under him. And it's nice to have somebody like that. So
That's awesome. Yeah, just that shoulder, right? And I think when we get stuck, we're just holding on to all that stuff. And if we can't release it, then we just like, it holds us back. So anybody else have any mentors? Or Hillary, do you have a mentor? I know you have a family that's kind of a lot in the medical world.
Yeah, I have goes back forever. Is I do have I have a lot of different people, but I have one cousin in my life that I'd say it's more of a parallel play. She's 17 years older than I am. And so when I was a kid, she was introducing me to this. Now she's a very successful acupuncturist. And it's gentle mentoring, because she wouldn't call her, she's not a coach by any stretch of the imagination. But I think a true mentor is somebody who like opens their books and their heart to you and say, this is good. You know, I'll say, oh, you're doing really well. She goes, I slide scale a lot over here in Vermont, a lot. And I'm like, well, your days are really long. She goes, yeah, I got to work on that. One of the things I learned from her is she broke her wrist, and she said that was when she finally had time to focus on her practice, and she switched over to Acuity, which is a booking service. Major tip for me was Acuity is better than Appointment Plus, stuff like that, which is like, it's kind of like no competition, letting the secrets out of the bag. And I kind of like what you all said, Victoria, Andrea, Dana, like at this point in my life, even if I hire somebody to be a mentor or a coach, they have to resonate on a friendship, right? So friendship. So yeah, I'm at Whole Life Healthcare, so we all kind of mentor each other in a way up there, upstairs. And then ultimately I have the teacher who taught me to be a medical intuitive, who I've had a 30-year relationship with. She is not a friend. She is hardcore badass, sets me straight. I'll always be like a little rookie to her, but I love that. I like being pushed by that. So teacher, friend, those are the people who I would put in the mentor category. People who are not afraid to share everything. That's a friend. So I'll pay for it. I'll have Thanksgiving dinner with them, anything in between, like that. That's my definition of a mentor.
I love that. And I love that you said truth, because I think one of the biggest things for us in our business is just to not glaze over things or sweep things under the rug, and just kind of, like, okay, this is it. And we can make things that are actually good seem really bad, or things that aren't really going well that we just keep pretending. And I've done that, like, and I think as women too, everyone's putting stuff on social media. You think, oh, they must be so successful, they must have it all done. And believe you me, I've had to talk to so many women who are killing themselves on social media, meaning that they're just like working their butts off, and they have thousands of followers, and it doesn't mean they have clients, guys. The work is much deeper than that. And I think it definitely helps you build up your following, your community, and that's really important. But, I think there's a balance between, building your community and then just feeling that everyone's just going to all of a sudden pop in and not having a real plan or a way to resonate with people. So anyway, I just think that's good. And I think, again, when we work for ourselves, we can lie to ourselves, we can pretend, laying it out there. And like your cousin was just, you're thinking that she's like got it all done because she's busy, but yet she's giving, giving her services away to people that can't afford it at a much lower cost, which affects her bottom line. So anyway, I just think that's really, really important. So has anyone a mentor to anyone?
I have been in the past.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a lot of finance in my background. So I have helped people women who are entrepreneurs develop their financial plan and help them read through kind of their financial reports and that sort of thing. And then also on the herbal side, I have mentored young women in that area as well.
That's great.
Hopefully we'll start to in flower essences, but not yet.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, some good ideas. I love what you guys are saying, that you know, it's great to hire a business coach, but it's also important to have someone that you know that knows you, that can call you out on things. And maybe over time, a business coach will get to know those things and maybe knows to ask the right questions. But I really love that. It's hard to find too, because I think you also don't want a yes person all the time. You want someone that is gonna ask the tough questions. You know, and sometimes, you know, it could be our spouse, you know, when it comes to the bottom line, or it could be, you know, a friend or sibling or something like that if it's more sensitive. But I think that's something that really resonates with me because yeah, you want someone that can be honest with you and that knows you and knows when you're making, you know, excuses or when you're, you know, making shit up. Like, I can't do this, right? You know?
Tracy, can I chime in?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's like really tricky for wellnesspreneurs rather than entrepreneurs is well, you talked about the hero's journey. So the hero's journey involves sacrifice. It's sacrifice and bliss. That's what is talked about, that there's sacrifice. And I think that a lot of business plans make room for it. But it's like, I really think it's the elephant in the room for a successful business. I've brought a lot of people through like Reiki training. I've been part of other kind of wellnesspreneur sort of groups. And you inspired me when you said consult with like a spouse. So what happens, I see a lot, is that the bottom line doesn't show up. Somebody needs, Donna, maybe you've done this. Somebody needs to create a curve for wellnesspreneur. Catherine Markowski, who started Float, friend, shares information, right? The curve looks like this. And then it goes like this. Like the curve for wellnesspreneur, you cannot bottle authenticity.
Yes.
You can't, you
Thank you.
can't. And so the curve looks like this. I was having a conversation with a woman who was really excited about the possibility of being able to kind of jump into my shoes and take my overflow. And she said, I don't want to, you'll get a kick out of this, but it was, I don't want to do any marketing. I don't want to take any loss. I don't want to pay any rent. And and this is how much I want to make an hour. And that's a very logical conversation to have in a job interview, right? And it might even be a logical conversation to have with somebody at SCORE. But I did work with SCORE when I started a company 20 years ago, and SCORE always says you take your first, and the US tax laws say you take a loss the first 3 to 5 years, you're allowed to do that. And I think a lot of people see this as, I'm not going to say hobby, Tracy, but let me just get ugly for a second and say hobby, passion project.
Thank you.
Something
Thank
I
you.
do, something I do after. Like, no, this is your life purpose. You know, this is what you've been waiting to do your whole life, and it is a hero's journey. And so, sacrifice for me was working at night when I had a toddler at home. That was not a good idea, but I did it anyway. So anyway, I go back to Tracy's, like, pull from the resources that are intuitively around us, is what we need to support us during the sacrifice times to build a career. You know, you're in it right now, Tracy, because you launched this amazing wellness thing. So I support, and I only actually want to work with people. And again, this sounds a little tough, but who have gone through the initiation of the sacrifice, not in a negative way, but in a, just like
Kinship.
Yeah. And like understanding that, oh, it's so tricky, but I think this is what we're pinning on. It's like, I have a right to make money and support my family. I have a right to do that. It is very, very tricky to do that. I had to 3, 4, 5 times this week. I had somebody saying, I'm in an emergency. I have this going on. I just got this. I have somebody tomorrow who has a very extreme diagnosis. And I also have to have enough of a life experience to be like, and I'm also going to charge you for it. I'm going to like pull in spirit messages and I'm going to charge you for it. You cannot not be authentic to get to that place. And it doesn't happen without experience. And it doesn't, back to the spouse thing that you, so I know a lot of women, because I had an office down on the North Shore where there's a ton of money, the North Shore of Boston. And oftentimes that money leads to one income family, children being raised, women who are passionate and smart, and they finally get to create their own company. And they have somebody who's not just like an advisor, but like a specialist in finance. And it's like your first week of work, what did you do? Did you turn a profit? And that's entrepreneur 101. You don't turn a profit. And we just have to get really, really thick skin about that.
I love what you said, Hillary, about the hobby thing, because this is not my first foray into entrepreneurship, but it is, for the very first time in my life, what I feel is a calling. Like I've never felt that before. And my husband and I have gone back and forth about some of my other ventures, ideas that they're hobbies. You're trying to find things to do. And it's going to take time to show him this is different. This is not just a hobby. This is a calling. I feel truly alive when I'm coaching people, when I'm teaching yoga, when I'm showing them the power they have within them to heal. It's completely different. And I love the idea of, us as wellpreneurs to shift that mindset. It's not a hobby. It is a calling. We do have the skills, the talent, everything that everybody else has as an entrepreneur to charge for it. And to be okay, asking, right? That's what I'm working on right now, is the ask, saying, yes, we've had 30 minutes of consultation, and now here's the ask. I'm not going to go 45 for free. I'm not going to go 60 minutes for free, right? So I love what you're saying, and thank you for bringing that up.
I'm curious if you guys think that this is a little off topic, but when women wellnesspreneurs who are following their passion, their purpose, like this is our calling, does that make it harder to charge because we feel that it's our calling and that it's a service? Like if we had started a business selling, newspapers or razors or whatever, we wouldn't think about not charging. But is there something around it being our calling that makes us feel funky about asking?
I think, sorry, I'll go and then I'll just real quick. I just think it's the nature of who we're attracting. You're attracting people who are in a vulnerable situation. And so unless you're made of Teflon, you're going to want to be in a conversation about you just want to be really good about talking about money. So it doesn't feel like you're breaking a boundary on your side or on their side. Show me a yoga class. You're going to see a lot of people who are in a tender spot, and that's on a good day. That's everyone showing up for yoga, not showing up for, I'm getting ready for surgery. So thanks. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. I was going to say, I don't know if it's because of what we do or that we're drawn to it, or I guess it is. It's because of who we are inherently. Like most of us are drawn to these professions in the first place because we're caretakers, right? So yeah, it does make it this and also we have old self-limiting beliefs that we should be caring for everybody. We should, right, be caring for everybody at the expense of ourselves. So a lot of us have that. But when you do raise that vibration a bit too, to just what I'm doing here has worth. you're going to get the people who come in and pay. It just needs to be, you're always going to help people, but helping people who are motivated is helpful too.
Well, I think, as I said, even with a business coach, if I, hired someone, I hired a coach for $10 an hour, I'd be like, well, if I don't show up, it's only $10, or cancel or whatever. If I'm paying $150 an hour, I'm sure as hell going to show up. So I think that exchange of energy is really important for us to realize.
It is. And there's the other side of wellnesspreneurs too, those who give massages, and they charge. That's a service that you're paying for. You go in for a facial, that is something that is helping to make you feel good. That is something that you're going to pay for, and you're going to pay pretty big. And the same for acupuncture. So here we are working with energy, most of us, and that is, maybe a little bit intangible. You can't really put your arms around it like the way you can. Oh, I got a massage, I feel so good. And, somebody actually did something. And here we're doing something. You're working quite a bit, especially when you're channeling in energy. No one really notices that or sees it. But it's hard to, have people put just, I guess, give it some, it's just like touching, just like that massage, just like that oracle card reading. So it's just, you have to, I don't know, stay with it and just be present and really believe it, that it's, and one of my early mentors, when I was doing a lot of Reiki and light work with her, said that there's always a fair energy exchange. So don't ever not charge, don't ever give yourself away, because you are doing something important. You're getting all this energy, it's downloaded, and it is for them, period. Charge, don't give yourself away.
I remember with my journey, it started, just starting my own business was this huge personal growth thing, and my self-confidence and belief in myself all had to grow and that's where what it came to, where you really start to see that you have value and believe it, and what you're offering is really useful to people, and then you decide, oh, this is what it costs, and this is how much money I need, and it's based on your own needs too. This is how much money I need, and this is how much this service is worth, and I'm an expert at it. So having that confidence and knowing exactly what you provide and believing how much it helps people after you've seen it for a little while too. So I think a lot of it for us, especially as women, and was it you, Hillary, was talking about the North Shore women who have been supported by their husband. There may not be a lot of self-worth or definitely not confidence there to name their price and understand their value. So I think for me, that was a big growth curve, like the first year of business, to get to that point. And now I've been in my counseling business for 10 years, and I don't take crap from anybody. Now you pay me because I know what I do is so valuable.
I just have to kind of clarify it, just because it's like two different ends of the pendulum, because what I meant was, okay, so we're collecting money for our clients, but when you start out, you might have 3 clients and not 13 clients a week, right? And you have to be okay starting with 3. And so, Andrea, what I was pointing out is that it's just like very, very transactional. And then Tracy asked a great question about, do we feel comfortable collecting money? And I actually think that there is some mentorship or support we can all give each other, because it's just quick languaging, guys. It's very quick languaging. It's very quick languaging. It's like, I'm $140 for today's session, and let me know if you need to slide scale down to 100, if I feel that's even a necessary conversation to have. And that's up to me deciding if that's, if that's something I feel comfortable with. But there's like coaching and mentoring in saying that in terms of energy work, Andrea. But I needed to put on the other end of it, because there's also people who are like, okay, I've been doing this for like 6 months and I'm not breaking even with my rent. And it's just like, you're right on track, honey. Don't worry. You know, you've got to put one foot in front of the other, which would be the same if you opened a hardware store or any business, you know. And I just to be, you know, kind of like candid with you guys, that bothers me, because then somebody who's a very, very talented person is starting to be told by their team around them, that's not, to Tracy's point, not wellness specialists, saying like, pack it up. You're not, you know, you're not making it happen. And it's like, it's a vital step is to take the one step at a time.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say that that's what I see some of the financial people do. They're like,
And yes,
Right.
that is how financial people think. I am, you know, I came from that type of job, and for the most part, that is how they think. That it's a paradigm that exists. It's been around us for forever. It is starting to change. It really is. And we do have to hang in there. And there are baby steps to making money, making a profit, and, you know, but you have to even measure it with, what are your real goals? And do I really, you know, in measuring time that you have and want to give, balancing that as well, because I think time too is worth money. And you know, to all of us who are doing this work, we sometimes need a little bit more time to pull back and restore ourselves and rejuvenate ourselves. So there is that balance. But financially, there's always going to be the, you know, that hardcore rough stuff out there. It does exist. And it's, you know, a paradigm that is starting to shift.
and it needs to be said too, it is very, very hard to not have enough money to pay the bills. Like, I have lived that. I have not quit.
Mhm.
I still live it out. If we have a lot of snow this year, I'm going to get a killer snowplow bill from Whole Life Healthcare, killer. And I'll just be like, oh, there goes my profit for a month. And so, you know, but then I also have a book, and like, to Andrea's point, like, I'd like to do speaking. Like, you want to diversify your portfolio, because if you know a lot of massage therapists or acupuncturists, you can't really do more than 5 a day, and
Right. Mhm.
you got to carry insurance, you got to carry rent. Those sheets add up. Like, crunch the numbers and understand the sacrifice that comes with the life purpose. And those conversations are big ones. And one last thing, Donna, the greed that tells people that we're supposed to, like, the greed from the financial world affects all of America right now.
Yes, it does.
So as an energy worker, I think we're even transforming that as energy workers. But the greed says, if it doesn't turn a profit, it's not good. I'm like,
that's right.
I actually want the biodegradable stuff.
Yes.
I don't really care if it costs 50 cents more. So I'll be very sad if that goes. I was at the health food store today, and I thanked them. I was like, I'll be back here to finish my shopping. They're like, thanks for shopping locally. I'm like, I would be devastated if you guys weren't here. You are more expensive than if I went someplace else, but you know, so that's a value too. And you're having a relationship with the hero's journey, which is sacrifice.
It is and you know, a plow bill kills everybody. Trust me, it does. It kills even the best and biggest. But you know, we've been so individuating for so long. We don't even know how to behave in a community. And wellnesspreneurs, energy workers, we do know how to be in a community, and we understand that when you give to your community, you get so much back. So there is that energy of give and take. And I think that is starting to shift in presence a little bit more. I've seen it, and it feels good. I don't know, I just kind of, maybe it's the people that I've been surrounding myself with, but it just feels like it's getting a little bit more awareness, and there's a little bit more correcting going on energetically with that. I don't know if you feel that, but.
I love that. And they always say we're the 5 people we hang around, right? But if we're not hanging around other wellnesspreneurs, like it's good for us to hear, see people raising up, see people up leveling, seeing people, go through the ups and downs of their business and say, I know, okay, they did that too, but I know I can get out. And I think, I think it's good for us to share our successes. And, this conversation alone is a great support network right here, right? Because we've hit a lot of really important topics. And so, all right, well, let's move on. I mean, the next thing that I wanted to talk about was the advisory committees. Anyone have one?
So when you say advisory committee, I have probably 4 or 5 friends and family that are always there, willing to try my programs, and I'll try that out for you, or I'll run it through, or I'll do whatever, or if you need a testimonial, you can work with me. So I have that. Is that different than an advisory committee?
So I see an advisory committee that's really to support your business from a bird's eye view. So, and I've done advisory committees for events, I guess primarily around events. I do have some, I'm starting up one for the business, the Women's Wellness Exchange, but I see it more as like, okay, I'm going to report to my advisory committee every quarter or once a month, and then like lay things out. This is working, this is not, help me see what I'm not seeing, so it could be friends and family, but it could be other wellnesspreneurs. I have invited women that I just admired and thought could add some insight. I have one woman who's not a wellnesspreneur, but she's a great marketing person, friend from high school, and I reached out to her after many years. And so I see it as a little more formal than that. You can, of course, they can give you feedback throughout the year, but you have to give them something to give feedback on. So I think it's important to kind of have those updates, whether it's like, these are my biggest challenges, some successes for the month, something like that. But a little bit more formal than that, I think would be important. And, it could be around a specific thing. It could be around just a program that you're offering. It could be around, your marketing, like maybe laying out some of the things that you want to do. Like, this is how I'm going to, this is kind of my marketing plan, because I've been on social media for a while and that's not working. So I'm going to do this. And I'd love your feedback. Like, what do you see? What are the messages that are resonating with you? I think it also helps us kind of be more futuristic. I know for myself, working for myself, one of my biggest challenges is that I tend to be able to, I tend to do things a lot kind of at the last minute because I can. And that's kind of where my creative juices flow. But at the same time, it can be very stressful if you keep doing that. So that's why I like to have like, oh, I know that, I'm going to like report to this group in a month. So I want to make sure that I'm like got my ducks in a row and I'm got my stats or whatever. So I think, it could be for your whole business, different aspects of your business. It could be once a year. It could be once a month, but I think it should be somewhat formalized. So, yeah.
Do you get together with this group as a whole, so the whole group gets together at designated times during the year?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was doing this last year for a big event, we did it monthly for like 4 or 5 months, and that was it. And then we stopped because the event was over. And now I have another group that I'm doing some stuff with now. So, it could be short term, it could be long term, but I really, there's something I remember very specifically, the feeling of you know, 5 or 6 women who all showed up to support me. Felt really good. And, you know, when I'm in the women in sales group, and they talked about this, like this woman came on and talked about how she created her own board of directors, and her board of directors was like, she was in finance, so she kind of did it for her business, but it was really also just like people that she really admired, and they showed up for her. People like to show up for you. People like to give feedback. People, you know, want to be involved. So I really think there's a lot of opportunity there. And, you know, it could be around a specific thing. Like, you know, I didn't do this, but I had a fear of public speaking when I left my corporate job. And then one of my biggest things when I started my own career was, I want to become a better public speaker. You know, but it would have been great to have an advisory. I could have sampled things. I could have, you know, here I'm going to do the speech. You know, I want to get myself out there. Do you guys know of any opportunities for me to get myself out there? Do you know friends of friends? I also heard something that I thought was so interesting. This woman, it was a TED Talk. It was a random TED Talk. And this woman started success groups. And they would get all these people together. And I think it was quite a few people in a room. And someone would say, my hope and my dream is to boom. And then that would be like their night, you know, and then everyone would rally around them and say, oh, well, I have a cousin who knows, you know, like one person, she said someone wanted to meet, I don't know, some famous person. And, you know, that's my hope to, you know, this is all random. It could be anything. And, you know, their cousin knows their cousin. And she said the magic that happened when people came together and wanted to support each other. People love to support you. People love to, you know, other women love to be caretakers. You know, maybe you have some men on there who might, you know, be a little bit more linear thinking. So that I would just encourage you guys to do that, and maybe in the new year to create a little group. It just feels so good. I cannot tell you. It really forces you to get your ducks in a row too. You know, it really makes you take your business seriously. I have to say that, you know, when you have to write you know, present something, you know, you can't just like, oh yeah, well, my social media is going well. No, like, did it get better? You know, did I launch the course I said I was going to launch? If not, why not? You know?
So it reminds me of, I don't know if any of you who have read Stephen Pressfield. He's the guy who wrote
The Art of War, or
the War of Art.
Okay.
And he's a successful author, and he talks about turning pro, and the fact that, you know, he was specifically talking about writers, but this could apply for anything really. And what you're saying, Tracy, is when you have this advisory committee, you are going pro, because you're not just like, well, maybe in March I'll launch this, or right. It's like you are going pro because these people are gonna, you know, want to know what you're doing, what's happening. And that, I think I love that idea. And I think I'm gonna take that action item and you know, explore reaching out. I guess for me, I'll be a little vulnerable. I'm nervous about reaching out because I'm afraid I'm going to bug people. Right. But you just said, you just like reach out and people are like, yeah, you know. So
I think what people want is some some clarity, like, okay, how often, you know, what do you want feedback on, and that kind of thing. So just try and make it as easy for them by not making it be like, oh, because then they'll be nervous. Well, I don't know what I can offer. Why should I, you know, what am I going to say? You know,
right.
So you could even send some questions ahead of time. Like, what are, you know, look at my social media feed and see what resonates with you, or whatever. You can really ask some specific questions.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, so that's the advisory committee. Gosh, we're really running out of time here, so we won't have time to go into the exercises, but I'm going to reach out to you guys, and we're going to maybe share again sometime. But the accountability partner, anyone have an accountability partner? Okay. This is something that I've done over the last year with mixed results, because I had one woman I was doing it with, there's 3 of us, and she dropped off. She's like, oh my God, you guys are doing so well. And I'm just not doing nearly as well. And she just like hadn't even launched her website yet. And she bailed out. And I thought, that is just crazy. Come on. Like, you know, so anyway, she bailed out, but the other one was interior designer, and then we kind of fell off, but then I found another woman and we meet, and it's so helpful. And I'm going to do one of the things we're going to start in the new year are called huddles, just like quick, hour long, like you could throw something out. I need some feedback on these, the kind of mini advisory committees. I need some feedback on this course I'm creating, or, I could do something on Canva or whatever, but I'm going to do something on accountability partners. And that's something, I don't know, would that be something that you guys would be interested in if we set something up like that? Like to match people up? Okay. Because I think it's really helpful. Again, I love what you said. It's turning pro. It's up leveling. I'm a serious business. I have deadlines. I can't just keep putting things off and putting things off. So, and
Tracy,
I'm happy
actually,
Go ahead.
I'm actually more interested in hiring somebody, because I think that my accountability, to your point you made earlier, my coach, I have a writing coach who I'd call also a life coach. I mean, that to me is a accountability partner.
Yeah.
So I'd be more interested in hiring somebody even from this group than to befriend or have like to be accountable for them. That's my feedback.
Okay, good to know. All right, and then the last is masterminds, and we are going to be launching some masterminds this fall, but again, you could launch a mastermind that said, hey, I want to create a course, or I want to, explore social media content ideas. I want to write a book. We're going to actually do a writing, because I feel like writing is a good way to, something that we all need to do more of. So has anyone been in a mastermind or? Okay. Yeah, I have to say I have not either. I feel like maybe some variations of those. But again, I guess it's more of a working group. So if you were really wanting to explore something, you could go a little bit deeper. So, all right, well, we have 10 minutes left. I wanted Hillary to say something, and Hillary, maybe you can wrap us up at the end to kind of close things up. I wanted to say a couple things, and now you have a little more perspective on everything, but I really wanted you to kind of refer back to how you're up leveling through your different layers of community. But a couple things. How many people printed this out? Their worksheet? Oh, come on, I worked so hard on this.
I downloaded it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't print stuff out. I just download.
Okay.
I download and
what I need to do is make sure that I send PDFs that you guys can write in. And I haven't figured that one out yet. So
I can help you with that, because I know how to do that.
Okay, Dana, thank you.
For free. I know how to do it for free.
Yes. So let's why don't we have Hillary say something, and then I wanted to go around the room and have each of you just say one action step that you're going to take based on this meeting, and maybe one takeaway that was helpful for you. And then I'll wrap it up. But Hillary, give us some perspective. Hillary's in a major up-leveling position. She's got some major dreams and they are coming true. So just give us your perspective.
Okay, well, first of all, I think I gave a lot of my perspective just in the feedback, because I wasn't like, I didn't know what the format would be if I was saying something at the end. But if I were to leave anything out, the most important thing I think is to learn how just to talk about what you love. I was interviewed recently about my book and how did I get a major publisher, and I just authentically talked about what I cared about. And the thing about energy work is it's kind of a closeted thing. And I also just kind of have a little bit of a rebel in me, or just a sassiness in me. I can't help but tell the truth. And so I was like, I would always tell people what I was doing. And so that has like a network generating effect. So the best thing you can do in this world is talk about what you're most passionate about. If it happens to be your business, you're in a win-win situation. It's not to bore anybody. It's ask them about what they know or what they, I mean, in my case, and I would think for all of us here in the healthcare, I often am even cornered. They'll say, well, what do you do? And I was like, well, if you want to hear about it, I'd love to tell you about it. And like, no, tell us. I'm like, I actually work with my hands and I heal and I can feel how energy moves in people's bodies. And that's where I like kind of brace myself for like, you know, they like grab the cocktail and like walk out of the room. But that never, ever happens. It never happens. It turns into, really, I've been looking for somebody to talk to about this. They don't necessarily become clients, but I get better at talking about it. And then you're building a network. I just think the best way to level up is to assume that what's fascinating for you is fascinating for other people. There's an authenticity to that. There's some alchemy to that as well. I'm trying to think of when I did work in theater, we interviewed this great playwright. His name was Fugard, and he needed to write about, he was a white male South African writing about apartheid, against apartheid. And he has this famous play that takes place in his childhood kitchen. There are 3 actors in the play. It's called Master Harold and the Boys. It was revolutionary, and it changed the consciousness of apartheid in South Africa. And so there's the arts and the healing arts, right? So he's doing the arts, but the healing arts. He didn't just talk about what he was passionate about. He wrote a play about it. And so everyone got to see how they were treating 2 Black South Africans in his father's kitchen, right? And it was just, it was, so in the interview, he was asked, how did you just not write about apartheid? You just wrote about a kitchen table. And he said that kitchen table was more authentic than if I spoke about like, I want to end apartheid. So this is what I wanted to make sure I said tonight to how to level up with success. Get really interested in what you're passionate about finding the words for it, being able to speak about it, because I wrote a whole book, as many of you did here. You've already written a book. Like I've written a whole book only to be told, hey, can you describe your whole book in 3 sentences? I'm like, I wrote a book and you can read the back. And they're like, yeah, don't give me the back, give me the front, give me the sideways, give me this. So true, right, Tracy?
Yeah. No.
So
Yeah.
get good at talking about what you talk about and do not filter. Don't think that some people's talk about it more if you think it's somebody who wouldn't agree with you at all.
Yeah, and that comes back to a word that it's been really on my mind, is inspired, right? In spirit, where we are really channeling what's coming through us and what really resonates with us, and is uncomfortable or, you know, nervous as we might be about that. It's what other people need to hear too. I really, truly believe that. So thank you, Hilary. That's awesome. I could talk forever, but let's just go through and you guys wrap it up. And then I just have a couple things to say at the end, but just one thing that resonated with you and one action step you're going to take. Dana, you're first.
What you just said, and I'm so glad this is recorded because I'm going to go back and listen to it. What you just said, Hilary, is just talking about what I'm passionate about. And it's just getting past that initial nervousness, because you kind of put your finger on it when you said, I work with my hands and feel energy in that moment when you're like, are they going to look at me and go, what, or walk away? I just have to get past that moment. Like, hey, I put it out there. It's, you know, how it's received is not my job. Right. So thank you for that. That's been awesome. And then I'm going to reach out to a couple of people I admire and ask them about specific things I'm doing, and if they wouldn't mind giving me feedback. So
perfect. Awesome. Vicki.
So I think for me, moving forward, action plan would be having the advisory board sounded really good to me. Because again, I have, you know, the now new business coach through SCORE. I always have Andrea, who's amazing. And then, I've got, other people in my life who, do different things that I can pull from. But to have that and have a group that's holding me accountable, I think would be helpful. But I also, my take home is more of a thank you to you, Tracy, because let's be honest, if we were all sitting here in a BNI group tonight talking about energy work and authenticity, it would be like the glaze, right? So to be able to have a space where we're like trying to create these businesses, but where we're all healers and creators and caretakers, thank you for creating that space for us. So
thank you for being
you.
here, because yeah, thanks, Vicki. I appreciate that. And thank you for bringing so many people into the community. I got another referral today, so you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea.
What are the two things again?
Takeaway and action step.
Takeaway, there's so many little things. I guess what Hillary said is the thing in my mind that's the upfront, and it resonates with me personally, with me marketing my book right now, to really believe in it, love it, be able to talk about it and passionately to strangers. And this is sort of my next level. I've sort of exhausted all the groups and all my connections and all my networks. And I'm at the point where I need to really be able to speak about it in that impassioned way, in like 3 sentences that they want, to all the bookstores. And so I love what you said, Hillary, and I want to be able to articulate all my passion about my book and the topic and why it's important, because I really just want to get it in the hands of people who need it. And the action step is I need an advisory committee. I need people around me to help me hone this in and make some real plans for continuing growing the coaching practice, getting speaking engagements, and selling that book.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Andrea. Can't wait to hear more about your book and want to help. All right, Donna.
So I think for me, I need to get comfortable talking about what it is I do with people. So there's that, and not care what they think or have to say. And then the action step is that I do need help with some of my marketing so that I could be more succinct with how I'm saying things and the messaging that I'm putting across. So I will start building my team.
Awesome. Alethea.
Yeah, it's inspiring to hear other authors and to know that, you can get a traditional mainstream publisher and, for kind of the non-mainstream work. And one of the things I just keep thinking about, or I kept thinking about while people were talking, was that the desire I've always had to bridge science with metaphysics. My background was always science. I got degrees in science and then moved into metaphysics through my own healing work. And just that desire, like when we're communicating with people and stuff, to make it not woo-woo, I've moved away from a lot of people who are in the woo-woo realm because they're really far out into conspiracy world. And I'm in this phase where I'm trying to find people who are down to earth, but understand, the science connection to metaphysics. And it's nice to have a group like this. And then, therefore take it out into the world, and that's what my books, my middle grade books are about, which are really for every age, but, realizing that magic really is just that journey to, understanding yourself, right? That we all have in connection with each other. we're not different, you know?
I
So
love
yeah,
that. And that's the magic. Beautiful.
yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, this was so wonderful. And, I love what Hillary said at the end, because this, one of the things that we really want to work on as a group in the new year are finding our authentic message, really doing that work within on the soul track. We got to get the soul track first before we get the business track, or we do them together. But, I think we need to start digging deeper and get clear on those messages, get clear on what makes us unique, get clear on what our magic is, and not be afraid to say it, Hillary. So I think that really resonated with everyone. So thank you so much. All right, before we go, I'm going to Ratsamungo. I was going to have the link for the survey, but and I'll send it out to everyone. We're just doing a little quick survey, asking people a couple questions as we plan for next year. Secondly is, we have gift certificates. So if you're looking for some last minute gifts for people, you can download a gift certificate. I'm giving them to my mother-in-law, to my stepmother, and they get to pick something in the Women's Wellness Exchange. So if you have a few people that you have not bought anything for, let them pick their own gift from one of our members. Let's support our members. So just wanted to, throw that out there to your people, or to your family members, or just to you if you're looking for something. It's really nice because you can just email it or print it out, so you don't have to go to the store, you don't have to wrap it or anything, and you can do it between $25 and $200. Also next week, I kind of toss this out there a little bit last minute, but we're going to be doing a end of year wrap up, and it's just an opportunity. It's kind of a little bit of an accountability. We're going to go through and have people, talk about their successes, their challenges, things that they want to work on for next year in a group environment. I'm hoping to do more of this kind of stuff where we create some monthly, I don't even know what we're calling these, but monthly kind of accountability things where people kind of show up and like give an update on their business. And, maybe we do it 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 or whatever. But I think, knowing myself and seeing everyone else, and even the discussion tonight, having something that we're really showing up for, to up level our business, to, to show that we're taking it seriously, just like every business does, right? People have to, they have to report to their stockholders or their board of directors or whomever. So we're going to try and be doing more of that. So, if you guys have any feedback on that, let me know. And that's, I'll put that in a follow-up note to everyone tomorrow. I want to say it's next, I should know this. It's next Thursday, I believe, or no, it's next Wednesday at 1:00. And I figured a lot of people might be taking some time off. So if you want to do it, I'll send you guys the link as well in a follow-up message, just to RSVP. And then I'll send you that little worksheet for people that like to print it out or not. Dana, I'm going to talk to you about that. And yeah, just appreciate it, you guys. If you have any other ideas or feedback, or if you need me to connect any of you guys, let me know. Of course, you can find everybody in the Women's Wellness Exchange. You can communicate and send messages through the Women's Wellness Exchange to each other, or just let me know. I'm happy to connect you. So, all right. Wishing
Thank you,
guys,
Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everybody, for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to see you guys. Wishing everybody a really happy, healthy holiday, and let's spread the love.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Tracy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.